But you see, our people were playing around, not looking at taking care of the business of their people. At that point in time, all these nations say, aha, we know how to strengthen Europe and rebuild Europe. And that's by displacing the wealth out of Africa and displacing not only the material wealth, but the human wealth of Africa. So they began to pour in and started sucking blacks out of Africa. Not only the black treasures, the gold, the silver, but also the human capital. In some areas, they almost depopulated parts of Africa by shipping blacks out. And over a course of about another 300 years, they shipped out somewhere between 25 and 30 million, 35 million blacks. And out of all those blacks that shipped out of Africa, over 2/3 of them died en route trying to get here. As a matter of fact, from the 1500s to 1800s, 6 out of every 7 people that were shipped came across the Atlantic Ocean were black folk. 6 out of 7 were blacks. And they were depopulating Africa, not only as wealth, as resources, but as human capital. Very important. And they came and as they shipped them out, everybody began to become enriched. But you still had black leadership that still didn't understand, unwittingly was playing into the hands of people who were much more serious about the games than they were. So I jump up to the year 1619. They brought in 20 blacks into America, formally, even though we'd had another group of blacks in here around in the 1500s. They've been floating around, too, off of PD River in South Carolina. And we'd had blacks much earlier, the Folsom people. But let me don't even get into that. But by 1619, they brought in 21 blacks into Jamestown, formally. And those blacks came in as indentured servants. They were traded by a German warship for supplies. Those blacks were free in about year 1624. But something very important happened right before 1624. In 1621, you had a black guy named Anthony Johnson. Anthony Johnson came to the United States in 1621. Came in from England as a free black. At the same time, you had those other 20 black slaves brought in here in 1619, the first 20 blacks. But this black came in as a free black in 1621. He came in, and then since he was coming in from England, not from Africa, he then declared himself a free black, declared that he wanted head rights. And head rights in those days says anybody coming to the country can get 640 acres free right off the bat. Then plus you can get another 500 to 600 acres for every slave that you own. He immediately went and had 13 blacks. He brought in then, we got him 13 black slaves. And he's black. So within a few years, about 15 years, he was one of the richest blacks in the colonies. But he was enslaving his own people. Now, going up to 1638, Maryland colony then put out a public edict that laid the cornerstone for racism in this country, saying that now that black folk coming into this country and they began to intermingle with whites and socialize like Johnson and trying to integrate, we got to pass a new law. So the state of Maryland put out a law called the Doctrine of Exclusion. The Doctrine of Exclusion says that no black should be permitted to enjoy the fruits of white society. That was in 1638. Now, Johnson still had it. He's really built up his land now. He had all kinds of land and a whole bunch of slaves, getting close to about 70, 80 slaves now. And a white guy went over to one of his plantations. And one of the black slaves there, named John Castor, asked him, says, why am I a slave here with this guy? He says, I didn't know that. He says he owns me for life. How does he own me for life? And the white fellow who was a plantation owner also said, look, he doesn't own you for life. You know, didn't you contract for indentured servantship? Indentured servantship normally runs 5 or 7 years. What do you mean he's got you for life? This black guy said, I've been working for this Anthony Johnson, this black slave plantation owner, for almost 27 years. The guy said, well, just run off and leave. Forget about him. You don't have to keep working for him. So the black slave, John Castor, ran off. But guess what happened? Anthony Johnson then went to court. And he sued the white plantation owner who had encouraged the black to run off. Sued him in court, and the court accepted Anthony Johnson's claim against this black slave, saying that he owned that slave for life. Now, what happened there never had ever happened on the history of the earth with black folk and in this country, where all of a sudden a person laid claims against an individual for the rest of his entire naked life. And it was a black man. And once that court decision was made, whites picked it up and said, aha. So by 1665, all the states then started passing enslavement laws. They went back and took the doctrine of exclusion and say, now, the doctrine of exclusion with Maryland says that black folks shall always be excluded and never be permitted to enjoy the fruits of white society. But after listening to the court decision for Anthony Johnson, we got a good thing going now. So they took that same doctrine and expanded it. And now the doctrine says that not only should black folk be excluded, subordinated, non-compensated, non-competitive managed workforce for the personal comfort and wealth building of white society. That became the enslavement codes, both explicitly and implicitly. And all the states began to enact it then, based on Anthony Johnson's ruling in court that he owns another black person for life. Now the system picks up. We jump now.
They know all hell can break loose if we don't do this right. So they have to build a story and use black people to build it. They don't use white. So you say he just took the land. No, he had to build a story amongst disgruntled blacks that was so emotional. Their emotions superseded their intelligence. And thus they were used against their own later to say, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was going to go this far. We become our own worst enemy. Let's keep going. Look at this. We're going to go to Africa. According to PBS, we're going to go right down here. PBS Africans in America series companion book. And here's some more sources. I've been missing out on those. Here's some more sources. Africans in America, PBS 1998, Wonders of the African World, PBS 1999, and the African Trade History Channel International 2000. Just to give you some places where you can go to find some more of this information. But what we'll go straight to, more than 20 million Africans would be kidnapped in their own homeland. It's especially to show you Africans were enslaving Africans.
That's real. Yeah.
But you know what's crazy? We ain't gonna go there yet. Let's keep going. We ain't gonna go there. And they did it in the Congo. In fact, the Congo set it off with the Portuguese. Because Prince Henry did, like Spain did with Christopher Columbus, and funded a mission because they got tired of the middleman when they was getting salt and gold from the Moors. And they said, man, it's building our economy. We want to find a direct route to West Africa. They spun some missions in our endeavor to find out how can we get in. When they came, they wound up being able to get slaves from black people from Mauritania. And they found out these black slaves were way more stronger than their white slaves. The white people was enslaving white people up in Europe. This is in the 1400s. About 1444, the Dutch started coming in. The Spanish started coming in because black people were selling to all of them. But don't worry, we got some references for you. Look at my man, Olada Akuyana. He was kidnapped at the age of 11 and sold to Nigerian slave masters, black slave masters, as an indentured slave, then later sold again and later on purchased his freedom from work in Britain. This is the book called Interesting Narrative of the Life of Olada Akuyana, or Gustavo Esparza, the African. It was first published in 1789 and considered the first influential slave autobiography in Britain. This is a book from a slave that was kidnapped by black people, then sold to black people. This is a direct elaboration on a slave's account of being enslaved by black people. Let's go to the next one. Woo! And people don't like this. They just think black people perfect. No, we all make mistakes. But you ain't about to tell me that, oh, white man's the devil, and when we do something wrong. I mean, come on. My child hits another child in the head, and they're 6 and 7 years old. I do not say, well, baby, you know we can't beat our child, because after all, I mean, the white man's the reason why the child is hitting another child. We don't do shit like that.
That's right.
But then when this child becomes 21 years old, they no longer have to be accountable for their actions. So the children are more accountable and adults aren't? What's going on with this doctrine? No, the only reason the black man is doing this is because the white man. Up until it's the black man that you don't like, then it's actually true. I don't like this crazy doctrine.
Right.
That's why I don't respect it. I love the people. I don't respect the double talking.
That's right.
Here's the book. Here's another black man that was enslaved by his own people. I'm not giving you white people's accounts. I'm giving you black men's accounts of what took place on those slave ships. Some of those images you hang up is an end result of black people selling black people to black people that sold them to white people.
That's right. That's right. That's the truth.
The slaves wrote it themselves. We ain't gonna be picky and choosy, because I ain't bring no white man's account. Y'all ain't gonna let me get with that. So now something wrong with the slave for telling the truth about what black people did to them? Tell the truth. You know why this shit went on in Africa? Same reason why shit going on over here today. We either blood or we crip. We Hebrew Enslave, we Sunni Muslim. We ancient Egyptian and we can't respect each other's culture. We gotta tear each other down. Same shit in Africa. We got scars here, we got big lips over here, we got the big ears over here. In search for an identity that is exclusive, we become so ethnocentric, we start imposing life on other people. So because we're trying to differentiate ourselves from each other, we didn't even see each other as part of the same race, more or less because we're from different tribes.
Right.
And you know when you meet Africans from Africa, they give you this feeling like shit is gonna be uncomfortable if you niggas start coming over here.
Yep.
Don't front like you don't get this vibe, like they don't see you like you black too. Don't front like you don't feel it. I'm not saying all Africans, but many of us in here experience this kind of condescending vibe, like they don't think we all can get beat upside our head for racism. It's that tribal shit. It's that blood crip shit. It's that Hebrew Israelite, BPC, Black Panther, not to say that they advocate that ignorance. It's to say sometimes people get so caught up in their own cultural identity and insecurity, they gotta put other people's culture down. So here's a slave's account. We'll read through a bit of it. But when the vessel arrived, this is Odabar, Kugano, slave wrote it. Just like the other slave book. Look at the white man's a publisher. Can't win. But when the vessel arrived to conduct us away to the ship, it was the most horrible scene. Listen to this. Because we was told what happened on the slave ship. But this time around, you're going to be told it coming from a brother who on the ship, the beaters, the cracker was the black people. I got some shit to show you in the book. In the book, I got a slave master that had White House niggas watching black people. It's like you call the people house niggas, that don't mean it's limited to black people. And these are slave accounts. Why would the white man teach you that he alone enslaved you? He alone was able to enslave you in Africa. He alone was able to bring you to Brazil, no problem. The second highest population of African Americans. He alone was able to come to America and enslave you. Why do you suppose he has to teach you this? Why don't he give his fellow African demon the credit? Because he has to enforce a fiction to you. White supremacy is a fiction. It don't even exist. If he lets you know that you participated in your own demise, then you will have confirmation that you can come up and it's not that difficult. All you have to do is stop trying to bring each other down. So he has to teach you that I did this, so he can embed fear into your psychology. He's teaching you, D-boy, to let you know black people had a hand in it. So you can get scared, because the shit scares me. When I'm like, yo, they just came to Africa, what? 1,000 deep? And just overthrew millions of Africans? That shit is like scary shit. I'm like, yo, I feel you on that white man. That nigga come from heaven, he was kicked out. There's no way he could pull some shit off like that. He just came in Africa and just took niggas and nobody bust their gun or did a... And so much of us, them niggas could have lost their eyes after a while. He didn't just come there, he has to embed fear into your psychology. A lot of his power don't even exist. It's like money. You get a little money, what happens? You buy a house, you're in debt for $150,000. Money didn't even exist. Now you're paying back the debt with real cash dollars. Now the money exists. Same way his power works. He has no power, but you give birth in his hospital. Now he has power because you can see birth of the child. He has no power, but you get married. You see the actual contract. You just gave birth to white supremacy again. He has no power. But then you have to go to him to be educated. So here we go. He only has the power that we gave him.
That's right.
So white supremacy don't exist, and he learned a lot of this weird and wacky shit from us. Believe it or not. He learned a lot of stuff. If you go into Nation of Islam lessons, same word they don't say Yaqub is the original black man. And he's the father of the devil. Same word they don't say that. So if the black man is the father of the devil, and it also says in the lesson, same word they don't say in the lessons that he had to teach the devil devilishment. So if he had to teach the devil devilishment, it's almost a subtle conviction that white was right until black people taught it wrong.
That's just a forgotten technology.
Think about it. I was raised on this shit from my pops first born. But when I got a thinking mind of my own, people started to hate me. They ain't just y'all, Nuwapians hate me too. He called me Nuwapian. I'm Nuwapian by heart, but if you ask the average Nuwapian, oh, we don't deal with him. He's doing his own thing. You damn right I'm doing my own thing, because these niggas is doing the wrong thing. I don't give a hell what anybody tell me. I don't have to be a slave under no black man. We done been enslaved by black people already. I know the knowledge. I'm not coming to be enslaved by nobody information. I got a thinking mind of my own. Don't you dare try to condemn me for someone else's sins. I uplift Dr. Ben. If Dr. York says something wrong by him, he got to sleep with that at night, not me. I embrace him for the good that he has to offer for the community like all the other leaders. Let's go to the next one. I forgot to name this infernal fort, the ship that the slave master was on. I mean the slave brother. But we were taken in the ship that came for us to another that was ready to sail from Cape Coast. When we were put into the ship, we saw several black merchants. Black merchants, these were the slave buyers, the people that purchased them. This ship was filled with black people. What you think? America just had free blacks and none of them was getting in on slavery? Like, what are you thinking? Niggas was just walking around free, just by chance, watching other black people be enslaved? How does that work and they don't get offended unless they're part of it? Something I ask my Morris community all the time. There's some skeletons in our closet, and if we don't identify it, we're going to be likely to do it again. If giving or being put in a position of power, we will abuse it again. And when we found ourselves at last taken away, death was more preferable than life. And the plan was concerted amongst us that we might burn and blow up the ship and to perish altogether in the flames, but we were betrayed by one of our own, a countrywoman who slept with some of the headmen of the ship. I'm going to go down. But it would be needless to give a description of all the horrible scenes which we saw and the base treatment which we met with in this dreadful captive situation, as the similar cases of thousands which suffer by this infernal traffic are well known. Let's go next one. This should get intense right here. You should get the book. Because if you rely on white people to sell you the story about slavery, if you should have questioned, why is this white man being so honest about beating up the Native Americans, shooting us down? Why is he teaching us so much of this? Because he's trying to induce fear into you. Make you think he do it all by himself. He almighty, all powerful. I don't need no niggas to take them down. I do it all by myself. I ain't gonna give nobody credit for this, so they can fear me. Because they don't fear me, I can't have power. So look at this. This Lord of hosts, this great providence. We're going to go down. Where the brother says, but I escaped better than many of them. For eating a piece of sugar cane, some were cruelly lashed or struck over the face to knock their teeth out. He survived the ship, eating pieces of sugar cane that broke off because someone was whipping the hell out of other black people. Black people was whipping black people so bad, pieces of sugar cane was falling off, and that's what he lived off of. Read it. He watched people get chopped up. Black people chopping up black people so the rest of them could be scared. So nobody play gangster on the shit. Read it. This is us. Niggas say, yo, we going to Africa. I'm making sure all my mans and them coming with me. You ain't gonna have me just worried about the white man. Anybody that can do that to their own is way more evil than someone that can do it to another person's race. That shit is treasonous. if you can sell your own people into slavery, that's worse than a white man enslaving us. What kind of monster is this? It's inside of us. It's constantly making us point at other people. But I must own to the same shame of my countrymen that I was first kidnapped and betrayed by some of my own complexion who were the first cause of my exile and slavery. Oh, next one. Damn. I love Marcus Garvey. People say, polite, you always blame the victim. I ain't blame the victim. I blame the victimizer. The guy's doing the wrong thing. You can't make the black man that does something wrong to the black woman the victim too. There's only one victim. I'm not blaming the victim. I'm not a victim if I'm doing the wrong thing to you. But apparently, if that's true, Marcus Garvey is also blaming the victim. People love Garvey. I heard Shetty quote him a lot too. I agree with him. I love Garvey. People say, I'm Uncle Tom. You say, black people the one doing bad stuff to people? And then they quote Marcus Garvey and say, well, you ain't reading as much books as I'm reading. I got the book here with me too. The following content comes from the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey, page 37, Purpose of Creation. The man or woman who has no confidence in self is an unfortunate being, and is really a misfit in creation. God Almighty created each and every one of us for a place in the world, and for the least of us to think that we were created only to be what we are, and not what we can make ourselves, is to impute an improper motive to the Creator for creating us. God Almighty created us all to be free. That the Negro race became a race of slaves was not the fault of God Almighty, the divine master. It was the fault of the race. He said the reason why we were slaves was the fault of the race. Y'all say, y'all big up Garvey, and then y'all ask me, where you getting this from? Marcus Garvey, the guy you told me to read. It's a popularity shit. Like, if you say Garvey, I say Garvey too, but we ain't really reading what they was teaching. That's why we can't figure out why we don't agree. Because some of us is reading, some of us are not. But we all are big enough the same leaders. Confidence, conviction. He said, sloth, neglect, indifference cause us to be slaves. Sloth means to be extremely lazy. We ain't cursing out Garvey for calling black people lazy. Do you think he's calling all black people lazy? No. He's just saying too many black people are lazy. Sloth, neglect, indifference cause us to be slaves. Confidence, conviction, action will cause us to be a free man today. But every time you see a confident man, you get insecure. You think he's trying to belittle you. No, I'm trying to pick you up. That's what they do in hip-hop with all this money and all these women I got. And you say you're talking to the youth. So polite say, look at all this money and women I got. But only thing these women are my wives, not video girls. And this money I didn't get from dope dealing. I got from real estate. Go to the next one. So the white man, strategies of war. A war can only really be fought against an enemy who shows himself by infiltrating the opponent's ranks, working from within to bring them down. You give them nothing to see or react against the ultimate advantage. From within, you also learn their weaknesses and open up possibilities of sowing internal dissension. So hide your hostile intentions. To take something you want, do not fight those who have it, but rather join them, either slowly, making your own, or wait for the moment to stage a coup d'etat. No structure can stand for long when it's rots from within. This is the white man's strategy on war. We should study what white people say when it comes to war, since we accredit them for so much war. War and power. It's a lecture. This lecture means to read etymologically. Let's go. Let's go. The white man. And look at the first. Look at the first agent. James Wormley Jones. FBI agent. Because J. Edgar Hoover found out he couldn't infiltrate a black community unless he used black people. So the first FBI agent right here, there's his application. Let's go to the next one. Agent 800. Say, I say y'all keeping it 100. Whenever you promote dissension, you keep it at 800. And here's some African leaders apologizing for their role in slavery. Let's go to the next one.